Hello, and welcome once again to, we'll call this the garden chat. We've left the shack, but we still have much more to discuss on the more of life. Today's topic is going to be the Mustardo, that special something, that something fluid, that very specialness that supports all life we see, that which has animated us in the beginning and that which keeps us still. Yes, it is fluid in nature, so it makes this reflection pool and the falls behind me an appropriate place to discuss this, if you will, homespun word. But I think the sound I drug back from some other reality on one of my visits. But nonetheless, I think it's an appropriate concept, and I think it needs to be appreciated. As is with most fluid things in our life, they're not always that obvious, and typically we miss them when we find that they're limited. This is certainly true of oxygen. We take it for granted until it's polluted, or till somebody has their hand around our throat. And water, we've taken for granted until we can't find it or don't have clean water or enough of it. Well, Mustardo is a similar concept, although it is the nectar of life. It's that special something. Can you recall any of this at all? It was early in that first morning, before daylight had broken into our world. Darkened space was fractured, and life sent forth her loving call. Can you remember any of this at all? She found us there in the rocks, turned the key, and freed the locks. Can you remember? And so it was, and so it remains today, friends. We have been, and still are, the cutting edge of this incredible journey. Existence plays out where darkness and light are intertwined. So illumination is sometimes lacking, but purpose and intention is ours for accepting. There is something about Mustardo that is so critical to understand. While it's life's most precious quality, we as individuals need a quantity of it. So it is important, in my frame of reference, to stay within life's river. And what that means is to express celebration of life, her love, the attunement, the friendship. These are qualities that not only protect us, but allow us as living beings to add to the flow of this beautiful something, this river of life. It is also important for our well-being and the success of the journey that we stay within our context. For instance, when we look here into this reflection pool, you may see the golden orphs. Now, as humans, we've not always been so good as accepting our place in the woven fabric, and we've often chosen to leave life's river and fish from it, with questioning and sometimes dangerous consequences. The fact is that the fish can receive from the world what the world has to offer. Now, some of them might decide to go looking for God, and we see them attempting to crawl out of their pool, and we would say, well, golden orph, where is it that you go? And they might say to us erroneously, well, friend, we are looking for the water. And so it is. The concept of Mustardo implies that life has given and supports us in all of our essential needs. And when we make an effort, regardless what our thoughts and actions are, we are either nurturing this sustaining flow or we're taking something from it. And today's issue, I believe, is that due to our mistrust and our cognitive reconfigurations, we're often withdrawing from the river to feel something that is empty within us. And the very emptiness, I believe, comes from the fact that we have in our experiencing a limited flow of this Mustardo. As we mentioned, when oxygen is at a low flow, we understand that. Well, I think when we look into the world, we can see that the Mustardo, or that something special that sustains life, is also at a low flow. Why else are so many life systems struggling and suffering in this time of subtraction? And friends, believe also that suffering was never intended to be part of the journey, but it is an indication of our lostness and a low flow in life's river, or a limited amount of Mustardo available to us. It may feel like hunger in the sub-Sahara, but suffering is as pervasive as is the air. They may suffer there, and perhaps we experience depression here. It may feel like wildfires and volcanic disruption someplace, and yet within us we may suffer the instability and the visceral reaction from God knows where. So coming back to the concept of Mustardo, it's so important that we are nurturing our life, and in doing so we are nurturing the river. And that is the way it was intended to be. Life entered the many structures of this world, the many forms, and they all have an interwoven place in this incredible journey. Taken together, we go forth from here. We need to all be on base with this. It seems to me that many of us have decided to have what's special about this world, we have to consume it and put it into our homes and our life. But think about it. In the fluid natures of things, we don't have to hold the sun to know her illumination nor her warmth. We don't have to put a tree in our nose to have her gift of oxygen. It is ordained and found in the space between us. Remember that you take care of life, and life will take care of you. And we can't see the process, but we know that it's happening. And if it doesn't happen, suffering begins. So let us all get together on this. It was just the other night, people, and there was such a light in this northern sky. It was incredible, tangling, piercing, blue and silver, like none such. I believe it was a confirmation and verification of our closeness to home. It was undeniable in its power and beauty. It said to me, and I say to you, there's one horizon yet left to be lifted. We are so close. We are so very close. The aperture in the sky reminded us of what's before us. And coming home, it's not about tribulation, but rather destination. And what a celebration it would be. So go about your days in confidence and faith. Allow that to be the attunement. But remember that active participation in the sensuous nature of life, living life, is what nurtures this river that nurtures us. And let us be like the upper pool where the water falls. But it matters not what is our color, our path. We enter back into the eternal sea. The important thing is that we take time to flower along the way. Let us not flower in the briar in the thickets of the world, but rather in the open meadow in the full light of the day. Thank you.